This is Fraud to Fearless.
Friends, you are made for more purpose, more confidence, more impact. Because when you live fearless, you inspire others to do the same.
Let's go!
We're here. Y'all, so excited to be with you here today, recording an episode. Surprise, as you can tell from our background, we're in the same place for the first time. Literally since starting this journey, it's been 10 months of working together. At this point, 27 episodes. A lot haven't been posted yet. And this is our first time seeing each other in person, which is a super surreal feeling. It's our first face-to-face. I'm here for work and we double dipped and we're being entrepreneurs and let's make the most of it. And we just took some pictures. It's weird. We're super smiley whenever we talk, but it's funny because normally when I take pictures, I run out of gas and then it's like, all right, we got to decompress. So I'm not sure how much smiles we're going to have on this episode, but we generally smile a lot. So, the smiles are still on. But y'all, I wish you could. Neither of us can move right now. I wish you could see. So Brooke rented this podcast studio. It's super legit, soundproof. It looks like we're in Star Wars, on some Death Star ship, but none of the equipment, we couldn't figure it out. It's super nice, way more advanced than us. And for the past 3 hours, it feels like we've just been trying to figure it out. And thank goodness we're such a good team, because if you don't like your business partner, go rent a podcast studio and see if you still want to be business partners. But Brooke, it's great to see you in person. It's great to be doing this together. Let's say hi to the folks.
We're so happy to be here. And this really has been a growth mindset opportunity, because literally everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong today. Besides having the coolest videographer, photographer come. Awesome. Mike, we love you. We're so excited to share a little bit more about him. But yes, talk about a missing phone, a spilled drink, cords that didn't work, echoing, but we're here. And so this message, that must mean this message is going to be amazing. We'll see how this goes, because we do have to pass the mic back and forth. We'll edit it so that the clips are normal, but you probably won't hear our regular commentary that we have back and forth. So if you're like, what is happening? That's what's happening. Today we're going to talk about fear. We're going to dive deep into the fears that we have, what that looks like, and how we're trying to deal with that in our life.
For you kids out there that want to be podcasters and influencers and create content, don't do it. Do not do it, because it is so hard. It's really hard. And I think, Brooke, I'll compliment you, because I think this is part of your bread and butter now, but you're just so resilient. Y'all, when we showed up today, so we haven't seen each other in 10 months, we talk. It's weird. Brooke and I both, if it's a couple days and we don't text, it feels weird. It's like, is Brooke okay? Where is she? Is she on a cruise and doesn't have service? So we talk all the time. But we just don't see each other in person. And so this is just such a great, but, Brooke shows up this morning and we see each other for the first time in 10 months. And y'all, she literally has a wagon, what me and my wife. And when we go to the beach, we have this big wagon with drinks and all your games. She has this wagon with lights and microphones and cords. And honestly, my initial reaction is I kind of wanted to make fun of you a little bit with how much stuff you had. Well, it's legit. Y'all, she has this super fancy light that I almost knocked over and broke a whole bunch. I spilled my coffee, bought this latte, thought I was an adult entrepreneur, just helping a local business. Nope. It just spills all over the floor. But we're here. And I think maybe one thing we can start with, Brooke, is you've transferred, you left corporate America, you're an entrepreneur now. I think you've always been super resilient and just this, let's just figure it out. And a couple times today, Brooke just literally stopped and started praying. And and then it's just amazing to see after, that just like, yeah, like the miracles, and that, you know, that's like your style and it works. And I just love that so much, that even when you're super busy and kind of in panic mode, let's pause and pray and just like recenter. We had to do that a couple times today. I feel like there was multiple rounds when, honestly, I don't know, we haven't really debriefed this yet because we're real time, but I've like wanted to just give up on today. It's like, I need to go get a drink and like not be here right now. But so talk about how you developed that, you know, resilient style, and like how that's really helped you with your business.
Oh my goodness. They say, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question, honestly, Hayden. I think it's like we all experience hardship. We all experience things that we go through. I've realized, I didn't learn this from the beginning, but I've realized that we can't control what's happening to us. And so, but we can control how we respond to it. And so that's multiple, I guess it's the refiner's fire. I don't always show up perfectly or like, but it's just the practice. Like, okay, what are we going to do? We can sit down. And I feel like as a single mom, as an entrepreneur, as working in corporate America, like we're practicing this every single day. So, yes, I think there was a lot of fear today, Hayden, as we were trying to get ready, because it's like we only have this room for a certain amount of time. You have a very short amount of time that you're going to be in Utah. Like, we got to get this going. And we kind of buffered in an idea for how long it was going to take, but fear happens all the time. And I was thinking about how starting this whole thing, you're joking about getting all of the professional things and the lights and the mics. I never imagined that I would be here. Like now, I never imagined that we would be here doing this. And I remember the first time that I had the thought I should quit my job. I was working in corporate America. There was a lot of stuff going on in my life. Like I was in victim mindset. I was like, I had two little kids, really little kids, and I was getting so sick and tired of handing them off to somebody else every day. It's just like, I want to be with them. I want to be with them. But the thing was, is I didn't feel fulfilled in my current job. Like I had an amazing team. They were incredible, but I didn't feel like I was living up to like the gifts and talents and things that I had. So when that thought first came to my mind of like, maybe I should quit my job, it was immediately shut down with like, that's dumb. That's stupid. You're literally providing for your family, and a whole long laundry list of this is why it's not gonna work.
It's so real, and I can feel that 100% just being a parent. And it's this is week 2 of little Aubrey going to daycare, and so it's really hard to give them away. It's so hard to spend so much time with them and then get 3 pictures a day. I mean, she's freaking the cutest kid in the world, and that daycare should pay us to get to hang out with her all day. So that's super real. I think one thing I've been reflecting on is, it's half baked, so just go with me here. But I think I'm learning that when I was younger, I had this view that fear was something that eventually would go away. I thought fear exists now because I'm young or new to my career or haven't done things as much. And eventually I would like look up to people that are in the role that I like saw myself going to and thinking they're not afraid. Like they're not nervous. They don't have fear. And now, as I've continued on that journey, I've noticed that that is incorrect. That hypothesis was wrong, and that everyone has fear. Everybody gets nervous. Everybody feels anxiety. Everybody like has their boss say a comment in like an off-put comment, and they interpret it the wrong way, or like interpret an IM message as like, oh, you know, they might be thinking that I'm not performing. I need to really work hard this week and like prove myself. Everyone does that. And so what I've learned in a thought that I've been reflecting on recently is the fear ain't going away. So get used to it, But then so then you have a choice. You can either run from everything that makes you afraid, but then you get nothing, literally nothing. You don't get the praise and the joy and like love, like you don't get those things. Or you recognize that it's going to come either way. So let me learn how to address it. Let me learn how to overcome and like mitigate the fear because I know it's going to happen either way. Brooke, this is going to be an interesting kind of segue metaphor here, but I learned that in like the ancient Spartans back in like Europe, um, they were like historically known for just building great warriors, and like the boys at a certain age would go through this program that just, if you've seen like 300 or whatever, just the six packs, and they're just the best soldiers in the world. But I learned that they also had a very brutal like mental test. It wasn't just physical. It wasn't just, do the workouts and go wrestle a lion. It was also, they taught mentality. And there's this concept that is literally think about the worst possible thing that could happen right now. So like that could be you're in a car and there's a car accident, or like something happened, like whatever it is for you. We don't need to sit here and list off terrible things, but the practice of the mental training was think about the worst possible thing that could happen. How are you going to overcome that? Like, what's your next step? And it's kind of reverse, right? Because I think a lot of us are like, let's meditate and just think about positive things. But you can also meditate by thinking about something bad that could happen. And then, okay, now what? What am I going to do to overcome this fear? Okay, let's say something I am afraid of or am very fearful of happens. How am I going to respond, to your point? And I think when I've been thinking about fear, whether at work or in personal life, I think that mentality, I'm still kind of, dancing with it. I'm trying it on, of like what that means to me and how that's going to influence my life. But that has been really helpful for me as I've thought about like fear ain't going away. And also thinking through, okay, even if what I'm afraid of happens, start mentally preparing myself now for how I can address it. Hey, y'all, real quick. If you know of someone that would benefit from this message that you're hearing today, take a minute and send it to them. So often we think of somebody, we miss someone, we're impressed by someone, maybe we even love somebody, and we don't tell them. Let's not fall under that trap. Let's hold each other accountable, take a few moments, and send this episode to someone that would benefit. Let's do it, and let's do it fearlessly. All right, back to the pod.
I love this so much because I'm getting certified in a specific coaching methodology. And they talk about this very thing. And it's about saboteurs. So it's like when we go to do things, how this combines with fear, right? We have a fear that's holding us back from taking some kind of action, usually. So we have this fear and we have the thoughts, like I gave in my example of, that's so stupid. Here's all the reasons why you can't do it. We have all these different saboteurs in our life. He has like 10 different saboteurs. So think about the avoider, the sticklers, like the perfectionist, the pleaser, the like people pleaser, hyperachiever. It's like think workaholic, hyper rational. Anyways, there's 10 of them. So in this course, in the certification, it talks about how instead of exactly what you said. So instead of hyper fixating on all these fears, predict which one of these saboteurs is going to come up. So if you have a fear to go start a business, or you have a fear to go talk to somebody, or you have a fear to sign up for that race, or whatever it is, predict what things are going to sabotage you. Here's the thoughts I'm going to have. Here's the issues that are going to come up. Here's like the potential problems, like you said. What can I do to brace myself for those? If I know that I'm going to avoid it and I'm going to self-sabotage by avoiding these things, what's going to help me not avoid it? What are the things that are causing avoidance? What are the things that are causing my people pleaser part to come out? And take measures to prepare yourself before that happens.
I think the interesting thing about that, Brooke, is if we just use today as an example, Like, it's been an emotional 24 hours for me. I left my girls for the first time ever, since Obs has been alive. Flew back to Utah. There's always something for those of you that are from Utah, getting back to the whole Charlotte versus Utah debate. There's just something, Brooke, about these mountains that when I fly back here, it's kind of like a calming presence. Like me always being around water has just always been a big deal, and it just like helps calm me down. But mountains, just when I see my mountains and I like know which way north is, what you charlatans, even if you guys really don't know which way north is. But in Utah we do. Um but, and then today, driving here, I had a lot of thoughts on my mind. I was listening to my playlist on Spotify, getting amped, but it's like I haven't seen you in 10 months, so there's some emotions there. Taking pictures, y'all. I mean, it's a really terrible experience taking pictures with Brooke because she just looks so good. So it's just like she went first too. The photographer was like, "Oh, I have to deal with this riffraff," and like Brooke is like doing these different poses and stuff, and I'm just like, "Oh, I have to follow this." Jeez Louise. But we're taking pictures together, and it's like becoming real. Like everything that we're building, and I think that's super cool. But then, y'all, the amount of adversity we faced over the last 3 hours, it was no joke. And like I didn't see this coming at all. You know this stuff better than me, so maybe you predicted it was going to be tough, but I think if you recognize that fear ain't going away, I think, in my opinion, like the best thing you can tell yourself is like just move and don't quit. Like there were so many times today, I think both of us could have just quit. Like we're sweaty, we're moving this room around a million different times, trying every configuration possible on this thing, and it didn't work. And like, our ears are ringing from these stupid headphones. Um, and I just think what's really cool about this experience is make something out of nothing. Just like resourcefulness, resilience, just like staying positive. My wife and I have been reflecting on this because our daughter is like the smiliest kid there is. And we get these pictures from daycare, Brooke, and I text you a lot of them. But there's like all these kids in the bus, they take them outside, and there's all these kids in the bus, and they're like all kind of frowning and stuff. And then I was like, and she's just smiling, and we just smile at her all the time. Like she's rarely seen us, like probably never seen us sad or like mad. And it's the environment that you're in. Like even at 5 months old, I think I love this metaphor of like you have a jar and every experience you put a bead in. If it's a good, happy, positive bead, it's yellow. And if it's bad, it's black or brown or whatever. And what does your jar look like at the end of the day? Like, is it full of yellow with a couple black spots when you face adversity? Or is it the opposite, where you kind of have to move the jar around a little bit to find the yellow nuggets? Y'all, we are creatures of habit. And if every day you are just bad, negative, low energy, just like the Eeyore, one, it rubs off to everyone that touches you, right? Remember, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But two, you become that jar. You become the things that you're just like consumed with negativity. And I think, look, life sucks sometimes. It's hard. There's a whole bunch of things to be afraid of. I'm afraid of a whole bunch. You are too. Fear ain't going away. And so I just think that using that fear to kind of counter it, to think, you know what, no matter what happens, I'm going to try and put as many yellow beads in that jar as I can. I think that should be all of our goals.
So the title of this mini series is Fear Less. And so it's a play obviously off of our name, right? Fraud to Fearless, but it really is about fearing less. And I had never done this exercise before. I can't wait until you guys hear the episode, the Sarah episode. It really inspired me. And before I asked Hayden, I had this great idea that we should sit and literally write a whole list of all of our fears and just write them all out. We both took this exercise very differently. So I'll let you comment on like how you grouped it, which I loved it. I loved the different perspective. But I don't know, I just got a lined piece of paper. I filled out the front and back of a piece of paper and I just kept going down. And it kind of, there was some like fear of heights and fear of, I guess you could get more specific on actually how high. I went rock climbing the other day. Okay, this is the story to tell.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but first of all, let me finish the thought. I but it got into, like, fear of failure, fear of I'm not good enough, like, deep-seated, deep-rooted things. Because I would say, "Okay, I'm afraid of failing, but why?
Mm.
Because if I fail, then what does that mean about me? That I'm not good enough, that and if I'm not good enough, does that mean that people are gonna reject me? And does that mean that I won't be loved?" Like, my list was just it went down and down. So, this was an incredible exercise for me, and I think it's hard because you have to take a good look at yourself. Like, maybe you have a fear of mosquitoes, but when you look at the real stuff, then you're actually able to look at it and embrace it. So, okay, I have to tell you this story. Um, so my daughter does dance, and when she's doing dance, then I take my little Dax to go rock climbing. There's like a local rec center that has a rock wall. He saw it. He was like, "Mama, I want to do it." And so we weighed him. You have to be like 30 pounds or something to get on this thing. He is just barely 30 pounds. And I was so surprised because he usually has me hold his hand to, like, go up the stairs at the park, and I'm like, "You wanna do the rock wall?" But I didn't say that, but in my mind, I'm like, "Okay, he wants to do it, like, let's go." So we get there, we get the harness on, and he goes over to the wall, and he looks back at me. I'm like, "You got it." And he starts going up. And he'll, like, say, "Where do I go next?" And so I tell him, like, "Put your right foot." I tap his foot, "Put it find the yellow rock." Tap his left foot, "Find the red rock." And he literally went up past the line, like, I was like, "Is he gonna get afraid? Gonna get" and he just kept going. There's a lesson in that also, but when he got down and he rappelled back down, he said, "Mama, you gotta try it." And I look at him and I'm like, I can't say no. Like, what am I gonna say? Because if I say no, because I get afraid of it, then what am I gonna teach him? So I'm like, okay, I'll just like go up a little bit. And I said, Dax, you have to cheer me on, say go, mama, go as I'm going up. So I get the thing on. I get up like two rocks and I can feel my legs start to shake. Like I'm like sweating and I'm like, I can't, like, I have this fear and it literally goes up two levels and there's a bell at the top. So the lady that's there, she's like, "You got it." So then she starts chanting, "Go, mama, go." I have the worker chanting, "Go, mama, go." Like on this thing. I'm like, what did I sign myself up for? I literally have to go to the top. I just want to go walk around the track. Like, I don't want to be here right now. Why did I do this? And I'm like, no, there's a life lesson here. If I can just make it up to the top, I'm going to ring the bell and we got it. So, literally shaking legs, shaking arms. Like, I can't look back at Dax because I'm so terrified. I'm like, next rock." Like, that was the only thought in my head because I was like, I can't think about falling. I can't think about how far to go. It's just like, what's the next rock? What's the next rock? What's the next rock? Until I got to the top and rang the bell. And then I came down. I literally laid on the ground after I rappelled down, but I really wanted to cry because I was like, how many times do we get stuck in these situations where we know that we should do something, but we're like, I don't want to be here. Why should I do it? But the reward, we're so afraid of the pain that we'll experience or what could happen. And the reward, the feeling of I can do hard things, it literally rewires your brain. It changes everything. So that's the story of me and Dax.
I love that, and I think it's such a powerful story. As you were telling that story, it reminded me, I've talked before about how I love Dan Clark. He's a motivational speaker, Hall of Famer. Um, he used to be an athlete and play football, and he often goes to and talks to NFL teams before the game. And he talks about in his speeches sometimes how before he goes in and speaks, he talks to the coach about who's the most athletic guy on the team. And they tell him. And then he calls them out in front of the whole team. And he has a broom. And he's like, "All right, you think you're so tough and athletic? Jump over the broom." And he'll like raise the broom so it's like a foot or 2 feet above the ground. And then they'll like, I'll show like, "Oh, you think I can't jump over this?" They'll jump over that. And then he's like, okay, you think you can go higher? And he like raises it a little bit and then asks them to jump. And he's like, what about now? And then he'll jump over it. And every time they jump over it. And then he's like, why did you only jump over the broom? You've got a 44-inch vertical. Why didn't you jump all the way? And it's just like your mind played a trick on you that you couldn't climb that wall, but you could have climbed high. Like you rang the bell. It's such a, fear. It's just, so with this mini series, Fearless, it is a play on our name, and I think it's the right mini series, but I also think it's like, don't let fear control you less. You're going to fear. You're going to be afraid of things. And I think that that's super important, but it's like, don't let fear limit what you can do. It's like, my version of this is my neighbor has a boat, and I've never in my life been able to do a flip ever. Like front flip, back flip, anything on the trampoline ever. I was the least flexible person. And me and my neighbors, big fans of the pod, so they better be listening and reference this next time I see them. But everyone was doing backflips off the front of the boat, and I approached like my more courageous trailblazer pioneer version of myself, and they're like, Hayden, you do it. And I was like, no, like I can't do flips. They're like, sure you can, just like jump backwards and hug your knees. And I was like, okay, sounds pretty simple. So I did it, and I just backflip. Now I can backflip. So to learn how to backflip when you're like almost 30, it's just like, I didn't learn when I'm 6, so it's easier to backflip and land into water, off of a boat. But yeah, I backflip now. I'm pretty cool. But I think one other story and like example I wanted to share when we talk about fear, and we're going to double click on this in future parts of this mini series, but I want to I think so far, for those of you listening, we're talking about how fear ain't going away and it can really hold you back severely. But I think there's another like overlay parallel on what we're talking about, which is the Sharon guidance of it's your reputation at stake, not identity. And from a corporate America perspective, I think that is the root cause of 80-90% of the fear that you have at work, is that if I mess up in this presentation, or I do bad on this bubble assignment, or I suck at this promotion, or I'm not a good people manager, then I think people think I'm bad. I'm never going to be able to get better. Fixed mindset. Like they're going to fire me. Like every single employee in every single company is probably at least a little afraid of getting fired, right? Whether you're the CEO or the intern, it happens to all of us. We see a lot of these stories on social media. But I just think that what's hard about that, Brooke, is I think it makes people make decisions that are unnecessary. Like people run to a new company to reinvent their identity instead of recognizing that it was my reputation, not my identity, at stake. And you can change your reputation. I just think that is so powerful. And I really think it's like a deep belief of mine that I want people to know that. Like, look, we work in HR, or you used to, you're an entrepreneur now, big time. But in HR, we have to read people very quickly, and we have to develop an opinion with very limited data and very limited visibility. What if they were having a bad day? Like, are they really a bad performer because I saw them present one time and they were a little shaky because something was going on? Or they didn't do great leading this project, but there was some stuff going on in a personal life. So look, I know we're in business to make money, but I wish that growth mindset was more of a staple of business, and that we gave people benefit of the doubt more. If you work hard and like are willing to be self-aware and learn and dive in and work on your growth areas, we can work with that. We can work with that. And I just hate this concept of feeling like if I mess up in one meeting, then everyone's going to think I suck for the rest of my career, and I might as well just go to a new company.
I love that you brought up the identity piece again, because I've been working with this coach, and he asked me the other day, Brooke, tell me, what's your identity? Like, give me a description of what your identity is in these 4 different areas of your life. And so I sat for a second, and then I started listing off adjectives to describe myself. And he stopped me immediately. And he's like, that's an adjective. He's like, you're not an adjective. You're a noun. Like you are, what are you? And I was like, what? I don't know how to explain who I am without using adjectives. So I was saying things like, I'm resilient, I'm charismatic, I'm like, I don't know, examples like that, right? And so he's like, no, like, and so we talked about it afterwards. And he said, the reason why it's so important when you think about identity to talk about it in who you are as a person, because that's unchanging. When you can see yourself not as an adjective, but as a person, like, I'm a mom. I am a business owner. I don't do podcasting and whatever else. I'm an entrepreneur. Like something like, yes, I can say that I am that thing, that whatever it is. What does that mean? What's the definition of that noun? What does that encompass? And so I can stay rooted in that so that when the fears come, and the things come up, it's like, that's fine. How I might not be great at podcasting yet. I might not be great at I might not be great at whatever things, but I am an entrepreneur. I don't give What does that mean? I don't give up. I have a greater calling. I have a purpose to share a message, like whatever it is. So even when the hardships come, it's okay. Knowing our identity is so important.
All right. We're gonna wrap it up here. I because we're in person, I think we should close with like our favorite thing and hardest thing from today. Okay. So this is just off the cuff, which is Brooke's favorite. My favorite thing, it's so good to see you. It's really like so great. I had fun taking pictures, even though I'm a little worried to see them. You know, it's like I don't want to, make you look bad with me next to you. But it's been so much fun, and thank you for your leadership and partnership. And it's just, y'all, when you find someone that you just know they have your back, and like, it's amazing when I think you're part of a team that we can kind of gauge how each other is feeling and doing, and then we can help them enhance. So like, I think we kind of took turns passing the baton of who was more stressed and who was like going to quit more. But then when I was feeling that way, I feel like you're like, all right, we got this. Like, how can we salvage this? And then when you did that, I was like, all right, Hayden, like buck up, like, let's go. And then vice versa, which I thought was just a lot of fun. And I think this episode is going to be really special for me because it's our first in person, and the amount of adversity that we had to face to get here, and then just like passing the mic back and the lighting and blah, 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 all the stuff. The hardest part, and my other second favorite part, is, y'all, right before we filmed this, I was like so hot. And there's this fan in here that we can't have on because, we don't want the background noise. But I was just like letting it blast on high in my face as I ate a granola bar. Cause like, entrepreneurs, the legs feed the wolf, right? So it's not like we get an hour lunch scheduled in the podcast recording, even though we're coming up on like 5 hours together. So again, kids, it's not for the faint of heart. Hardest thing, Brooke, when my latte spilled, I almost blew a gasket. Oh, it's all right. It's not a big deal, but it was just like, oh, it's one of those days. But anyway, it's been an awesome day. It's good to record in person, but let's hear your favorite and hardest part.
Oh my goodness. I was trying to get some B-roll for social media, and we were taking pictures in different locations. We're at the kiln right now. If you've been there, it's such a fun space. Love the people here, love the vibe. So thank you, kiln. But I stuck my phone behind a pillow on a chair, and I was gonna grab it when we left, but I forgot. So then Hayden's getting some pictures taken. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get some B-roll. This is so great footage for social media. Walk back up the stairs. You guys, there was 2 chairs sitting there. The chair there I stuck my phone was gone. Like, it was just gone. The chair was gone with my phone. I'm like, how does a chair just disappear? And so I was pretty stressed that I wasn't gonna be able to find my phone. And then my computer wasn't working. It's fine. There was lots of hard. But By far, yes. I just think being able to record, it brings me back to the days when we were just looking up stuff, trying to figure it out, group projects that we've had in grad school, and just having that confidence, like, we got this. Like, I know that you're figuring stuff out, I'm figuring out stuff. Like, you don't get that feeling unless you've played on a sports team or whatever else. If you're lucky, then you have it on a team in like business, which is amazing and which we should talk about in another episode. But yeah, it's been so great today. I've had so much fun. You guys, I would say my invitation, and I'm going to pass it to you, Hayden, is try this fear exercise. Like sit down and just write a list of your fears and explore them, even if it's just one fear that you have. Ask yourself why 7 times. Why that's a fear 7 times. If you can do that 7 times, you're going to get to the root or at least pretty close of something. And every time you face a fear and make one little shift, that ripple effect in your life is astounding. So that's my invitation because we did it and the impact has been incredible. Like I want to keep going through my list and working on those things. That's my invitation. Hayden?
Yeah, I think it's a great invitation. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in corporate America, write down your work fears, write down your business fears, and ask yourself the 7 whys. So if you're afraid of snakes, why? If you get bit, it's poisonous, I might die. Okay, right? Like, but do the same thing. Like, if I'm afraid of the promotion, why? You're probably, if you ask yourself why 7 times, I guarantee you it's going to be because I'm either not good enough or which is going to lead to I'm afraid I'm going to get fired. But y'all, had a blast. Thank you. Thank you, Kiln, for letting us, cause a little bit of havoc in your lovely office space here in Lehi, Utah. Utah, it's great to be back. Love it here, always do. People of the mountains here. It's just such a beautiful place. So put it on your travel list if you've never been. All right, y'all, for now, that's the pod.